Hey, Ben from Lover of Tech, and welcome to another camera comparison, this time between the OnePlus 6T versus the Galaxy Note 9, flagship versus flagship killer. How much more performance do you get for the extra price you're paying on the Note 9 versus the OnePlus 6T? Let's find out. We're going to test both these cameras in different situations, in daylight and low light. We'll start with the front-facing camera, then we run you through the specifications. The OnePlus 6T has a 16 megapixel camera with an f2.0 aperture lens and records video up to 30 frames per second in 1080p mode with stabilization, whereas with the Galaxy Note 9 you have an 8 megapixel camera with an f1.7 aperture lens and records video up to 1440p 30 frames per second in 1080p 30 frames per second with and without stabilization. So right now we're going to test to see how the image quality is like, how the stabilization is like as we are shooting in daylight. So let's take a walk. And we'll start over running. Now we'll switch over to the 1440p 30 frames per second video recording mode on the Galaxy Note 9 versus the 1080p 30 frames per second on the OnePlus 6T. Let's see how the image quality and the stabilization is affected. Taking a run. Hey, welcome back to another camera comparison, and this time it's between the OnePlus 6T versus the Galaxy Note 9, and we're looking at the video aspect of both these smartphones, a detailed spec layout of each camera configuration of the rear and also the front-facing camera will be in the description below, so be sure to check out to know the detailed specs of both these smartphones. And what we're going to do is test them in different configurations and situations such as daylight and low light. First, let's start with the daylight test. Now we're in the 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on both the OnePlus 6T and the Galaxy Note 9. Just seeing how the stabilization and the image quality is like. Now take a small run. Now we're still in the 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recording mode, and what we're going to do is switch to the ×2 mode and see how the stabilization is while walking and then taking a run. Now we are in the 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recording mode. Let's see how the stabilization is affected as well as the image quality. Now switching over to the 1080p 30 frames per second video recording mode. Again, we're just seeing how the stabilization is affected as well as the image quality. Now we are doing a continuous video autofocus in 1080p 30 frames per second on the OnePlus 6T using the S9 Plus as the object, and we're just going to see how well it focuses when you're in and out of the frame. Now we are testing the continuous video autofocus on the Galaxy Note 9 in 1080p 30 frames per second. We are using the Galaxy S9 Plus as the object, and we're just going to see how it focuses when you're in and out of the frame. Looks to be working really fast. Samsung Super Speed Dual Pixel autofocus. Now we are in the 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recording mode on the Note 9 and also on the OnePlus 6T. We're just testing out what the low light capabilities are, stabilization and the image quality. Moving into ×2 zoom mode, ×2 zoom, and see how that affects things. Now we'll switch over to the 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode. We're just seeing how this affects the low light performance as well as the stabilization in low lights. And we are in the 1080p video recording mode at 30 frames per second. Let's times to zoom. Times to zoom. Now we are in the 1080p 30 frames per second video recording mode on the selfie camera. And we're just seeing how both of them perform. Image quality, low light performance, as well as stabilization. Now switching over to the 1440p 30 frames per second video recording mode on the Galaxy Note 9 versus 1080p 30 frames per second on the OnePlus 6T. We're just seeing how the low light performance is affected and the stabilization. Right, so what is my conclusion to this video camera comparison between the OnePlus 6T and the Galaxy Note 9 as we put them through daylight and low light tests? Front-facing audio on the OnePlus 6T, although loud, I think it just comes in too hot and it's not that pleasing to the ears. It's kind of very harsh. I do prefer the audio that's coming from the Galaxy Note 9 on the front-facing video. The front-facing video on the OnePlus 6T looks really sharp, but I do prefer the sharpness as well as the colors, especially rendered on the Galaxy Note 9 on the front-facing camera. Both in terms of video stabilization performs really well and they were both admirable. I'd say the Note 9 when in ×2 zoom mode did really perform a little bit better when it comes to stabilization, but both do really well when it comes to stabilization. Low light video performance when it comes to the rear main cameras definitely goes to the Galaxy Note 9, and even at 4K UHD 60 frames per second, which I usually would not recommend recording low light in high frame rate, it did look better on the Galaxy Note 9. So definitely probably down to the wide aperture of f1.5 on the Galaxy Note 9. But when it came to the front facing camera in low light video, I would say that the OnePlus 6T, even though at the sacrifice of slightly more noise, was giving off a much brighter image, which was definitely something that was more pleasing. But overall, these are just my quick conclusions. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite camera was for the video comparison between both these two smartphones, and let's have a discussion about it to see what we agree on and what we disagree on, and what your outcome in your favorite smartphone was for video. That about wraps it up. And again, this is another camera comparison. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can see more content like this, and also be sure to watch out for the photo comparison of both these smartphones. And also, if there's anything else that you want to see in the future, let me know in the comment section below. I'm your host Ben on the Lover of Tech channel, and I will see you next time.